After reading about rabbits, I learned that the meat from one doe rabbit was equivalent to that of a cow. One rabbit needs very little space, about 7.5 square feet, yet it can produce as much meat as you'll get at the end of the year from a cow. Wow! It's easier and less space consuming to start a rabbit farm. All meat is protein, fat, cholesterol, and calories. These are the 4 major ingredients you get in meats. Of the 4, only one is a positive, and that's protein. The rest are generally considered negatives. So, why rabbit meat? For health purposes, rabbit has the highest of all the positives. Rabbit meat has the highest protein and the lowest of the negatives. So, that has the lowest fat, calories, and lowest cholesterol. So, comparatively, when you put rabbit against most of the conventional meats, rabbits is always number 1. Rabbits are prolific breeders, producing large quantities of healthy, tasty meat. The rate of production is faster than that of pigs, goats, or sheep. If properly raised and cared for, a female rabbit can produce more than 15 times her own weight in a year. So with rabbits, you begin to recoup your cost in as little as 120 days when your first litters begin to sell. The male rabbit is a serious polygamist. It's entitled to 10 females, so you don't have to keep a lot of extra bucks. One rabbit is supposed to give you, on average, 30 babies in a year, with a productive lifespan of a doe being about 3 years. By planning your breedings, you can stagger the litters to have meat for sale regularly. New Zealand and California are the best when you want to specialize in meat production. So if you focus on rabbit meat production, you'll want to consider using just these 2 breeds. It's easy to produce and fast to grow rabbits. It's very simple and straightforward. Maximum, you need 120 days, and then you can produce in 3 months to 4 months about 4.8 pounds of rabbit ready for slaughter. Dry does, those without babies, are fed 120 grams, or about 4¼ ounces of feed a day. Then a mother with young babies gets her normal 120 grams plus an extra 50 grams. That's about 1¾ ounces for those first 3 weeks. So about 6 to 6¼ ounces. After 3 weeks, then they're fed 200 grams or 7 ounces a day because the babies are now going to eat along with the mother. Average gestation for rabbits is about 30 days. As birthing nears, the mother pulls out fur to line the nest box. You may see her sitting outside the nest box a lot, even after the babies are born. In nature, rabbits have to go out and forage distance from the nest in order to find food. So rabbits have evolved to feed their babies for about 5 minutes in every 24 hours or so. They can feed 8 babies at the same time, because the mother has 8 teats, 4 on each side of her body. In 5 minutes, up to 8 kits can take in sufficient milk from their mother, and that's enough for the day. Normally, rabbits are bred in a 65 to 70 day cycle. In other words, when the babies are 5 weeks old, the doe will be serviced again. Also, at about 5 weeks, weaning occurs when they're separated from their mothers to the grow-out pen and finished off by the end of 120 days. Rabbits should be provided with 5 to 6 square foot per buck or dry doe and 7 to 8 square feet for does with babies. When stocking your grow-out pen, figure 3 to 4 square feet per grower, providing a nest box and a square of wood for resting on, either on the wire floor or elevated with movement room beneath. This will help cut down on sore feet. When you first start out, you can have outside hutches with a roof and some side protection from the wind. But as you grow, you'll want to keep your hutches inside a shed, barn, or greenhouse, high tunnel. Setting up a good watering system will help you cut down on chore time, giving you more profit from your sales. Nipple waterers will dispense water from buckets stored above the cages and allow you flexibility to medicate individuals as needed. It gives you and the rabbits a clean environment. As always, underneath their cages is the poo. You can collect droppings for fertilizer or use the area for chickens on deep bedding. Hens will eat any feed dropped by the rabbits and stir up the bedding looking for bugs and worms. If you provide plenty of space per animal and adequate ventilation, about 8 to 10 exchanges of air per hour, you can keep the air in your rabbitry fresh. Like chickens, one of the biggest challenges in rabbit production is coccidia. If you keep the area clean and fresh, it's less likely to develop. As a preventative, once in a while you can drop some coccidiostat in the water. Modern coccidiostats are not necessarily medications, but many rely on destroying the coccidia's ability to metabolize minerals. If you focus on meat production, if you have to, you can medicate rabbits for meat up to 90 days of age, because by the 120 days, they should have gotten it out of their system. For meat rabbits, it's best to purchase feed specially formatted for rabbits. That way it'll have enough protein, carbohydrates, and fats, as well as vitamins and minerals, essential to reproduction and growth. Occasionally, you can give them a bit of something extra, like greens, only occasionally and in small amounts, as some greens, like barley, can contain high levels of nitrates, which can kill rabbits. Always use a string trimmer to cut your greens. Gas mowers can drip oils and exhaust particles onto the cut grass. Never feed grass that is fermented in a sealed plastic bag. Always be sure of the source of your greens. People use agrochemicals a lot now, so if you're not lucky, you could be collecting some grass that's been sprayed and will kill your rabbits. A friend recently lost a lot of rabbits because they used cut grass without being careful of its source. Records are everything. You can use a simple chart to guide you through the year, noting when an animal is expected to be ready for mating, information about the male that serviced the female, when litters were born, and information about how many times the doe has had litters that year. And then you can also get other information when you do your analysis, like factoring in the average of 7 kits per cycle. If you want to do replacements, it helps to try to find out which females and which males give you the average you want. So it helps to guide you to particular source rabbits with good mothering ability. With rabbits, fostering is usually a fairly simple procedure. If you raise a lot of rabbits, sometimes 2 rabbits will give birth on the same day around the same time. If one has a regular sized litter and the other only a couple, you can maximize your operations by adopting the strategy of fostering. You can take the smaller litter and add it to the larger one. For instance, adding 1 kit to a litter of 6, the mother will then raise 7 babies. It's best not to exceed 8 kits per nursing doe in total. Now the doe with no babies will come back into season in 72 hours, allowing her to be serviced again. Generally, the small litter is nothing to be concerned about. Sometimes there could be problems during gestation, like maybe stress or something caused the fetus to be reabsorbed. However, if the doe repeatedly has small litters or does not care for them, she should be removed from production and harvested. You can foster up to 3 kits. If it's more than 3, sometimes the mother of the litter you're fostering into will be able to spot the bunnies you've brought in. Also, never add more than the kits she already has. Lastly, make a note on the cage of the foster mother how many kits were added and who they came from. So, with planning, organization, and good marketing, it's simple to grow from backyard farm to a 30-doe unit in a year or 2. From there, you can easily step up to an even larger operation as demand requires. If you found this interesting, you might also like to consider checking out our video on rabbit housing and our video on growing your own fodder. New York City, get me to the farm.